Hey everybody, Brian Good here with an update on mainly the short term as we head into this upcoming weekend with Oaks and Derby, of course, and Mother's Day. We'll cover all that. Today, the big story is temperature and the radar trends. You can see a lot of blue showing up here across the heart of wave country, that cold air being brought down to our level thanks to the rain and clouds pulling it downward in our area, and that's allowing for a chilly day for this early May. We got 54 here. The sun's coming back out to our north and west, and that's why the numbers have been responding and paling now back up to 60. But that's not exactly good news, because when you heat up the surface like that, you create that rise in air that quickly goes into that cold air just above our heads, and that is a perfect setup to get not only heavy downpours, but in some cases some lightning and thunder and perhaps some hail that could develop as we do this afternoon as we get into the higher potential for heating this afternoon that's going to be taking place. We can see one cell that may be close to that level now west of Breckenridge County, another one located over Lawrence County into southern Indiana. We'll be monitoring these as these drift in from the north and west. They are feeding on the heating. In other words, they're feeding on the sunlight today, so as we get closer to the time period of the day where the sun angle begins to lower in the sky and eventually the sun sets, this activity, especially the lightning and thunder and the hail potential, will begin to wane, and we'll see that take place more than likely after 4 or 5 o'clock today. So lots to keep an eye on, but it is not exactly be the prettiest of days, and it will be chilly at times with your thermometer likely going all over the place. If you get a little bit of sun, you'll jump up to 60 or so. Then a shower hits you and knock you back down to 52s, and that'll be the range you'll be for this entire afternoon period. From a meteorological standpoint, this is a very picturesque system. I mean, a nice little spin to it here across areas of northern Indiana, very close to Fort Wayne, in fact, and this low is going to pivot slowly to the south and east and then take its time heading off the eastern seaboard. Because it is such a slow mover, we will be under its influence for about another, I would say, 24 to 36 hours, and then we can finally get this thing out of here to where we get a chance to enjoy some nice weather for the bigger events later this week. But for this afternoon, watch out for those downpours and lightning, small hail, even overnight tonight. Chilly rain will likely redevelop during the overnight period. And we're that close to talking about some frozen precipitation getting involved in the atmosphere because it gets so cold. That cold air is dropping down pretty low. Now, the warm layer looks thick enough that it's going to be all liquid, but again, it's that close. In other words, it's miserable rain. I'd rather it snow at this point than have cold rain like that, but that's the way it's looking for overnight. Lower 40s in some locations with the chilly rain. In fact, look at eastern Kentucky there. Could see some elevation switch over to wet snow in the higher elevations of southeast Kentucky heading toward the Smoky Mountains. Not here, but for there. But then as we head throughout the day on parade day, Thursday, at the start of the parade, this is key. The dry air, a lot of good support that the dry air is going to work its way in on the northwest section of the low and then work its way and eat up the moisture as it heads southbound. How quickly that happens will determine how nice the parade will end up being. So because of that rate, it looks like Indiana, you guys have the highest chance to clear out the quickest with some sunshine. Therefore, you're likely to be the warmest in wave country the way it's looking for Thursday afternoon. Still a chance for showers even at the start of the parade time, that northwest wind continuing. But we fully expect it to be very similar to last year. We started off with some downpours and some showers around. It was chilly out, and then the sun rays started to break in through the clouds as the parade went on. In fact, we were mainly clear by the time the parade was wrapping up. So it was one of those things where it just changed throughout the parade route. I think the setup for later on tomorrow is going to be very similar to that as we head into the afternoon. That will influence our temperature. But I would dress for the 50s if you're heading to the parade. Prepare for rain. It's not likely, but there is a chance, and I would dress for 50s. And if you do that, you'll be in great shape. Now, as we head into Thursday night and early Friday, there is looks like a mainly clear sky likely to develop. But overall, Oaks Day, now this model will see out at this point about lunch time period here on Oaks. Looks like we'll be off to a good start with a decent amount of blue sky, maybe some clouds to the east, but temperatures already warming up into the 60s by midday on Friday. 70s will be likely. Let me backtrack, though, slightly as we head into parade day. GFS is showing that moisture. You can see that little dry punch, though, in the northern chunk of that, where, again, it's going to be eating away first in the northwest corner of the low. Looking at the wind fields, latest guidance has come down compared to yesterday. Now it's saying sustained winds of about 10 miles per hour for the city. That's good. That would allow for at least maybe a low fly event for the inflatables, maybe even a normal flight. It's going to be borderline on that. Usually 12 to 13 miles per hour sustained is going to be the point there where they have to make a decision. But if it holds at 10, maybe in good shape there. And then throughout the afternoon and evening time period, it kind of bounces back and forth if we get any sunshine. This is the bad thing about sun, though. If we get some sun mixed in with some of this during the parade time, the winds may get locally enhanced. So we want the sun to warm us up. We don't want it really to influence the wind, but that's a potential. So we'll watch the wind speeds. It's going to be a nowcast situation, looks like, for tomorrow afternoon and evening. One thing we also are going to be watching, we talked about this yesterday. The model's still showing us a little bit of a dip. You see it there, a little short wave that comes in. Oaks night into Derby morning. It's still trying to squeeze out a few light showers, perhaps sprinkles. I think this is still overdone on the model. We may add a very, very small rain chance in Oaks night during the overnight period. It's not going to impact a lot of you, and if it did, it would be just, again, a few raindrops, but a lot of you will be out and about Oaks night, so we don't want you to panic, think there's a heavy downpour coming your way. But we will monitor that, a little short wave again for Oaks night, early Derby. More of a nuisance than anything. But as we get into Derby, it still looks good. The timing on this front dropping down has not changed a whole lot in the past 24 hours. That's good. We were hoping that the trend of moving it forward was not going to continue. It looks like it's stopped. So it looks like the rain chance will likely hold off until after the big race. For Derby Day, temperatures in the 80s will be likely. Even some thunder with that, especially where the rain develops initially in the afternoon on Derby Day. I would say across Indianapolis, maybe down as far south as Seymour and Salem, Indiana. You may have some lightning and thunder with that before it then becomes mainly just showers as it tracks into the Ohio River. Still betting on the idea, again, that most of the day, Derby Day, is going to be fine. It's going to be warm in the 80s, slightly humid, and any rain chance they will hold off into after the big race. One thing that is showing up on the GFS and the Canadian is a bust potential for Mother's Day. This showed up in the Canadian yesterday. It lost it for a while. Actually showed up Canadian 2 days ago. It lost it yesterday. Now it's back again. But this band of rain, if it develops on Mother's Day at the wrong time of day, at the time when we need the sun to really heat things up, there is a chance the temperatures may not get out of the 50s or lower 60s for some of you. It's a very narrow corridor. You can see where some of us will be well into the 70s, close to 80, while some of us will be in the 50s. That's a huge bust potential there as we head into Mother's Day on temperatures. Stay tuned. We will monitor that. All right, have fun the next few days. Stay close to the forecast as we continue to make some changes as we get closer.